The second demographic transition, SDT, is a concept that describes profound shifts in family formation, fertility patterns, and population dynamics that have occurred in many developed countries since the mid-20th century. Introduced in the 1980s by demographers Ron Leste and Dirk van de Ka, the theory emphasizes changes in societal norms, economic conditions, and cultural attitudes that have led to significant deviations from the traditional demographic patterns observed during the first demographic transition, FDT. While the FDT was characterized by a decline in mortality and fertility rates as societies transitioned from agrarian to industrial economies, the SDT marks a move toward a new demographic regime influenced by individualism, post-materialist values, and new social arrangements. This essay explores the core features, drivers, and implications of the SDT, drawing on examples from different regions to illustrate its global significance. Core features of the second demographic transition. 1. Decline in fertility below replacement levels. A defining feature of the SDT is the sustained decline in fertility rates below the replacement level of 2.1 children per woman. In many developed countries, fertility rates have fallen to around 1.5 or even lower. Unlike the FDT, where fertility declined primarily due to economic constraints and access to contraception, the SDT links this decline to changes in personal aspirations, increased female participation in the workforce, and the prioritization of self-fulfillment over traditional family roles. Number 2, delays in marriage and childbearing. A noticeable trend during the SDT is the postponement of marriage and childbearing. Individuals are marrying later or choosing not to marry at all. Similarly, childbearing is delayed, with many women opting to have their first child in their 30s or 40s. This delay is often linked to the pursuit of higher education, career advancement, and financial stability before starting a family. 3. Rise in cohabitation and non-traditional family structures. Traditional family forms, such as nuclear families based on marriage, are being replaced or supplemented by diverse living arrangements. Cohabitation without marriage has become increasingly common, and many couples opt to have children outside of wedlock. Additionally, single-parent households, blended families, and same-sex partnerships are gaining greater social acceptance. Number 4. Increase in voluntary childlessness. Another significant feature of the SDT is the rising number of individuals choosing not to have children. This choice is often influenced by changing values, environmental concerns, or the desire for personal freedom and financial independence. Childlessness is no longer stigmatized to the extent it was in the past. Number 5. Population aging and low population growth. The combination of low fertility rates and increased life expectancy has led to population aging. Many developed countries are experiencing a higher proportion of elderly individuals relative to younger generations, posing challenges for social welfare systems, healthcare, and labor markets. Drivers of the second demographic transition. 1. Cultural and ideological shifts. The SDT is deeply rooted in cultural and ideological changes that emphasize individualism, self-expression, and autonomy. The post-World War II era saw a shift towards secularization, the decline of traditional religious values, and the rise of post-materialist priorities such as gender equality, personal freedom, and environmental sustainability. Number 2. Economic and educational factors. Economic development and higher educational attainment have played significant roles in driving the SDT. Women, in particular, have gained access to higher education and professional opportunities, leading to shifts in traditional gender roles and family dynamics. Economic uncertainty, housing costs, and unstable job markets also contribute to the postponement of marriage and childbearing. 3. Technological and medical advances. Advances in contraception and reproductive technologies have given individuals greater control over their fertility and family planning. Reliable access to birth control and options such as in vitro fertilization (IVF) have enabled people to delay or avoid parenthood altogether. 4. Policy and institutional factors. Government policies and institutional frameworks can either support or hinder demographic changes. For instance, generous parental leave policies, affordable childcare, and housing support can mitigate the effects of the SDT by encouraging family formation. Conversely, the absence of such policies may exacerbate low fertility rates and delays in childbearing. Regional variations in the SDT. The SDT is most evident in Western Europe, North America, and parts of East Asia, but its manifestations and timing vary across regions. 1. Europe. In Western and Northern Europe, the SDT has been characterized by widespread acceptance of cohabitation, low fertility rates, and high levels of gender equality. Southern and Eastern Europe, however, exhibit different patterns, with traditional family norms persisting alongside delayed childbearing and population aging. Number 2. North America. In the United States and Canada, the SDT has been marked by similar trends, including rising cohabitation, delayed marriage, and increasing diversity in family structures. However, fertility rates in the US remain slightly higher than in Europe due to cultural and policy differences. 3. East Asia. In countries like Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan, the SDT has led to some of the lowest fertility rates in the world. Intense work cultures, high education costs, and traditional gender roles contribute to delayed marriage and childbearing. 4. Emerging economies. While the SDT is primarily observed in developed countries, elements of it are beginning to appear in emerging economies. Urbanization, globalization, and exposure to Western cultural norms are influencing family dynamics in regions such as Latin America and Southeast Asia. Implications of the second demographic transition. 1. Economic consequences. Population aging and low fertility rates pose significant economic challenges. Shrinking labor forces can lead to slower economic growth, increased dependency ratios, and pressure on pension and healthcare systems. Policymakers must address these issues through immigration, automation, and reforms to social welfare programs. 2. Social and cultural changes. The SDT reflects and reinforces changing social norms, including greater acceptance of diverse family structures and gender equality. However, it also raises questions about the long-term sustainability of societies with low fertility rates and aging populations. 3. Policy responses. Governments are experimenting with policies to address the challenges of the SDT. These include measures to support work-life balance, such as parental leave, flexible work arrangements, and affordable childcare. Immigration policies are also being adjusted to counteract population decline and labor shortages. 4. Environmental considerations. The SDT may have positive implications for the environment, as lower population growth can reduce pressure on natural resources. However, aging populations may also demand higher consumption of healthcare and energy resources. Criticisms and alternative perspectives. The SDT theory has been subject to debate among demographers and sociologists. Some critics argue that it overemphasizes cultural factors and underestimates the role of economic and structural constraints. Others question its applicability to non-Western contexts, where different cultural and historical factors may shape demographic transitions. Alternative perspectives, such as the theory of lowest low fertility, focus on specific economic and policy conditions that drive fertility rates below replacement levels. The second demographic transition represents a significant shift in population dynamics, driven by cultural, economic, and technological changes. While it offers new opportunities for individual autonomy and gender equality, it also poses challenges for economic sustainability and social cohesion. Understanding the SDT requires a nuanced analysis of its drivers, regional variations, and implications, as well as the development of policies that balance individual freedoms with societal needs. As the world continues to evolve, the SDT remains a vital framework for examining the complex interplay between demographic change and modern society.